than your currency.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No BS with Birchie podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Birch, and this is a show unraveling the truth to the facade of the 21st century. We're now exiting the matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. Almost feel like a bit awkward saying the intro to you, but today I'm greeted here with Nora. Thanks for coming online for us today. I'm really excited to have a catch up with you.
Excellent. So glad to be here. I've heard lots of your podcasts and listened to you so often. You're talking, the last time I listened, it was 3 hours. I don't know how you kept going and going, but it was riveting and, engaging every inch of the way. So, really a great fan of yours. And as you know, our whole family's a great fan of yours and many of our friends and acquaintances as well. So, so ready to get started.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited because we're living in a world and we're not going to go into anything too crazy today. I'm going to leave the stage over to yourself. But the reason why I wanted to get you on is I wouldn't say I'm the healthiest person in the world. I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes per day and, all that sort of stuff. But I'm trying to keep my body healthy nowadays. And I think, we're living in a world where people are living in fear. Fear causes problems. I can see the gut sheet in the background. People have unhealthy guts. People don't realize. And there's lots of parts of how our body works. And, I think that a lot of people are glued to what they're seeing on a TV. They're being given one option in life. They're being told how things should be. And I'm a big believer that you can, prevent rather than deal with a cure. And I think that from your background, you can share a lot of information for our community. So, Matt, maybe if you want to start off by telling everyone what you do and,
So I'm totally passionate about lots of things, but my number one passion is wellness, and under that umbrella, the modalities that I use are fitness. So I teach Pilates, and within the Pilates I teach breathing techniques, and I also teach nutrition and what beverages to drink as well, very important, not just the foodstuffs. And I work as a naturopath for the last 30 years. So, there's so much in being a naturopath. It's such a broad list of modalities that come under the natural medicine, complementary and alternative therapies, they call it CAMS. So the reason why I got into or discovered my passion, I was 16 and I went to the doctors because I had pimples on my face. And I remember thinking, I was so self-conscious. I was quite shy as a teenager. I was okay in my bubble, but outside that I was a bit on the shy side, and I certainly didn't want pimples, especially with the boys and all of that jazz. So I went, I asked Mum, could you take me to the doctors? I just want to get rid of these. Maybe I was thinking cream. And he said straight away, yep, that'll be right. If you just go on the pill, it's hormonal, just go on that pill and you'll be right. So with that, my mother walked out of the room, and we were there for all of maybe 30 seconds. And I said, but, I've been well all my life. It's not anything serious. What about talking about the list of foods? That's the first thing and he said, food has got nothing to do with your health. And so it was I was so distressed by it, actually traumatized by it. And I was in shock, and I was like a 16-year-old, so I wasn't that much of a rebel in those days. And I just took it out there thinking, I will never, ever come back here again. From now on, I actually have to educate myself with what is giving me these pimples. It's got to be something I eat. It's got to be something in the air. It's got to be. So I just had this strong knowing that if you don't look after yourself and do your own research or know how your body ticks, they're not going to really talk nutrition if you go to the doctors. So at an early age, I was quite wary. So luckily, I'm one of 8 children from mum's Irish, dad's Scottish, from the Celtic, strong Viking genetics. So we were hardly ever sick, except for the odd earache or sore throat. So we were a very well family. So it was very foreign to me to even go to the doctors. But so then I left school and was a school teacher by trade, and immediately started teaching fitness at the age of 19. And it used to be called exercise to music in those days. And then it became aerobics. And then we had to wear the G-string and the hair up in the ponytail with the perm and the Jane Fonda days. But it was, lots of good fun in the fitness field. And I trained to be a school teacher, which I absolutely love because I adore children. So I then taught prep for 2 years and grade 1 for 3 years, and always made sure that in my teaching I taught nutrition. So I would bring the parents in and at the beginning of every year and talk about how vital it was for the children. Did my own research, by the way. I did home economics for year 12 subjects, so I was like basing it off that, and then advised them not to give the kids Mars bars for play lunch. So this is back in the late 70s. And so I just knew that there's so much to this. So I knew the children who would be irritable and falling asleep, I knew that they'd be on a sugar fix either at home before they came to school with grains and mueslis and Cocoa Pops and whatever. And so I always had that tapping in the background as I taught primary school. Then I went into secondary school and I met a phys ed teacher. I taught phys ed in secondary for 3 years with art and English and other subjects. And I found a buddy who was totally into it, but under the microscope sort of stuff, like, vitamin D does this, vitamin D3 does this, vitamin C does that. What about milk thistle herb? So he was so into it. I really was like, whoa, this is a really good buddy to have. And then I got married and got pregnant, and Stephanie was born, who's now 36. And she had an earache at 11 months old. And I remember thinking, what is she screaming for nonstop? I didn't know what part of her body was in pain. And he looked inside her ear in the doctor's clinic and said, oh, she's got an infected ear. Here's an antibiotic script. And I was like, antibiotics? Aren't you going to tell me what food I should be giving her? I was like, you can't just give a baby antibiotics. Won't that destroy their gut? That doesn't make sense to me. And so I took, again, this happened to me when I was 16. Wow, deja vu. And I took the script and went straight to a naturopath the next day, and then got on the straight and narrow with a homeopath who we stayed with for years and years as the children were growing up. And then when Jacob was born, he was 18 months, he had a fever that went on and on for 4 days. And I thought, well, I better see my sister was a nurse and said, you better get going into the hospital. So I took Jacob into the hospital, and they said, he's got right side pneumonia. And I was like, they said he's got to stay in hospital for 7 days and he's going to be on strong penicillin. And I was like, no way. I was going to have to leave my baby, not in a million years. So I went straight to the foyer in those days, rang on the landline, Southern School of Natural Medicine, and said to Jim Veljanowski, Jacob's got right side pneumonia. She's like, come straight away. And that was a Friday night. By Sunday, on the homeopathic remedies, he was running around the backyard as if nothing happened to him. And if I had gone the other way, he would have still been in hospital, and goodness knows, I don't know what would have happened. But I thought, okay, time for me to really learn about this. So then my husband, Ken, actually rang up and enrolled me. And then I started studying natural medicine, and it was like every time I went to a lecture, I was like so keen on learning and endorphin releasing every time I got a new book or an assignment. I actually loved doing my assignments. And then, so that was, 30 years ago. And, the children have been brought up on homeopathy and herbal medicine, and also, good nutrition and good drinks, and also breathing correctly. And if there was any emotional upset, talking it through and bringing them through to positive words, positive speak, resolve. So it got me into the whole full gamut. So my 3 children were like, my 3 guinea pigs, really. Well, Ken was a bit of a guinea pig too, as well. But it was like, I wonder if this would get rid of their pain in their tummy. Like, I wonder if this would get rid of that. And things were working, and I was like this has got to be amazing. So, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people later, 30 years down the track, I know, haven't done any masters or thesis on it, but anecdotally, I know what works with people's bodies. I know what brings them into happiness, and I know what the whole, basically, how to get healthy physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah. That's really exciting. Like I love the energy, the passion, and the care to it, because there's so much. I think that natural remedies, like, without going too far off topic, right? We live in a world, media says, have French fries, have a Coke, and have a tablet, and that's all that TV is trying to push, is certain sort of lifestyles and whatnot. And I think that it's very, very underrated, and a lot of people don't even maybe watching this for the first time and not even realizing, wow, there's an alternative sort of option out there. And if I can start from within, from having a healthy gut, to having a healthy mind, to having, treating myself healthy, I could avoid a lot of the problems that I might be getting. I remember back in the day, I used to be very, very sick, and now I'm not sick. And certain things that I do now, and my lifestyle's better. And I think there's a lot of people, I see people, and sometimes I'm no expert at it. I just little bits and pieces that I pick up along the way. I think I say you need to go and see someone like Nora that needs to, you need to go to a professional that can help you. And they're like, no, I'll go to the doctor. The doctor said to do this. The doctor said, 1, 2, 3 will be okay. And it's like a lot of it starts within with changing lifestyles too. And it's really cool to hear that just with your children and your journey on how this got you to the 30-year career. So I guess maybe if you could share, I don't know if you could share like just rough stories, like maybe a few stories of like people that have come to you with certain problems and some of the fixes and how you've been able to, get into a more happier, healthier life.
Yes.
From remedies. Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's a really good question, because, what is health, what is disease, and what is wellness? So when I was younger, in my 20s, I was fixated on nutrition. You have to have good food. You can't possibly have those French fries. And so our children were brought up quite strictly with nutrition only. I remember Stephanie saying when she was 8, we went to visit a friend. She was like, "What's that on the table?" And they were twisties. And my friend said, "Doesn't she know what twisties are?" Well, she would have seen them before. But, now, like, I was very, very strict, and I was very clean slate with what they could and couldn't have. I don't know whether I'd be that strict again, because I've learned over the years, I've gained a lot of wisdom through observing people whose diets aren't so great, but their outlook, their attitude, and their basically their levels of positivity are up there. And I feel very certain now that can actually override not so good food. It's like, people come to see me and like they've got a pain in their gut. So on the device I have, I can see that they have Helicobacter pylori, and it's very obvious that they might have the ulcer in the stomach, the spleen, the duodenum. So they would then need a natural antibiotic to get rid of that. I'm not totally opposed to doctor's medicine in the event that they need it. I mean, steroids work magnificently, very quickly, and also, painkillers, like I'm totally not opposed to anything like that. But where we can get away with not having the drugs for, like, say, gastric reflux, you don't have to have drugs for that, because there are so many herbs available that will calm down the mucosa and bring the body into more of an alkaline state in the gut and less acid that keeps erupting and causing the burping and the burning. So, so I often see people come in to the clinic and they can be, they can maybe not even be on the best diet. And so they'll come in and I'll think, wow, when I check them on my device, they'll show what foods they're allergic to. And I've discovered over the years that, they can see it because they've got this incredible outlook on life. And one of the emotions that I see that wins the brownie points for health is that they're generous. There's something about generosity and gratitude that seems to make the chemistry in the gut work really well. So at any given second, our thoughts become things. So it's very obvious to me now that the words you speak and the thoughts you think can give you bad chemistry or good chemistry, because this particular person I'm thinking of, I was sure that they would have gut problems, and because I knew what they ate, and they came to see me, and I'm like, well, they're squeaky clean, their gut's better than mine, But this is the person who will make 2 cakes and give one to the next door neighbours, or make sure that they're always sending a card, or always acts of kindness all the time. And I know for sure now that totally affects someone's outlook and health. It's like in the giving you receive back great chemistry, Yeah. So, and also the other side of that is that I know another person who came, macrobiotic diet, squeaky clean, no wheat, no dairy, no sugar, no tea, no coffee, no alcohol, could not be better, ate sprouts, everything, but never, ever forgave her father for him being violent when she was a child. She could not get past that trauma. And so her ailments were ridiculous, like the arthritis, which is withholding negative thoughts, and her gut was really no good. She still couldn't stomach what actually happened in her life. And so I'm 100% believe that, yes, nutrition is so, so important. I do 10-day challenges online for every different season. So every month, we've just finished the September 10-day spring challenge, where every month we do another 10-day challenge, because I think it's good to keep focusing on the organic food and the purified water, the green leafy vegetables, the root vegetables, the sprouts, and, those highly nutritious foods like spirulina and, the seaweeds that our ancestors would have eaten. And I think that's very important. But time and time again, I see that even more important is how you think and how you align yourself in your life, how you center yourself. And so when people are so out of whack, and they can be like very scattered, and especially the last, 18 months, 2 years coming up, they are so out of rhythm with who they believe they should be. It's getting the person back into some sort of emotional rhythm. So setting up activities like, as soon as you get up in the morning, well, maybe you do a deep breathing exercise. Maybe you go for a 15-minute walk. Maybe you do. But to me, it's like, get out and do something that is going to immediately alter your emotions to bring you up to a higher frequency with your vibes. My mother used to say, and it might be an Irish saying, come on, get out of bed before the devil gets into your thoughts. A bit like that. Like you can spiral down a bit and maybe become like a victim or remember what happened yesterday. I think the whole trick of wellness is, and the whole trick of life is, that it's inevitable that every single person on the planet is dysfunctional to a great degree or a small degree. Some days a great degree, some days maybe in the morning a great degree, maybe in the evening better aligned. We're just always getting confronted with different confrontations with people, different experiences, different thinking patterns, different messages coming through depending on what stage of life we're going through. I think the trick is that we still know how to come back to center and basically connect with yourself, plug yourself into the heart chakra and the solar plexus, and you connect with your purpose. Why are we here? Like, what am I doing? And they are the people, those people who seem to be connected to the creator, they are the happy people, 100%, every time, no fail. Yeah.
Awesome. And thanks, Dora. And who should, I guess, people may not have heard what a naturopath is. Some may have, some may not have. Some may be, going, should I go see one? Like, who should come and see a naturopath? Who would be the most important people that would come to see her? Yeah.
Well, for a start, open-minded people, they're the ones who accelerate forward the most. People who are committed to themselves. I might even get people who've never seen a naturopath before, but because they're really committed to being fit and well, they would be my best clients as far as making progress. So it's anyone who has any ailment. So people will come and see me and just say, I'm anxious. I've become so anxious. I don't know if you can help me, but I've become very anxious. Well, I just love that because I can make great leeway for that. And with the anxiety, because it's fun to get out of the anxiety into the joy factor, and just to know how to switch and change the state of your mind is the gift. But anyone, I see a lot of people with gut problems would be my number one, and anxiety. Number two, would be depression. Also a lot of arthritis, obesity, a lot of overweight people. So basically anything that can go wrong with the body, I think naturopaths can make, get set up better patterns of eating and drinking. And then, always include that whole exercise routine and out in the sunshine, getting oxygen into your lungs and knowing how to breathe correctly. Because when you breathe, we can only go without oxygen for seconds. So why aren't we really, really good at getting the maximum amount of oxygen in? Because clearly you need oxygen in every cell in the body, So isn't that the first thing in the morning? Wow, I better fill up these lungs with oxygen. So where do you get the most oxygen? Over near the trees, because the trees and humans go together. We give them the carbon dioxide and they give us the oxygen. So it's like we can go without oxygen for seconds. So you think about it. 1 and 1 equals 2. Okay, every day I've got to check that I'm getting good oxygen. We can only go without water for days, and we can only go without food for apparently around a month before we start breaking down the system. So, my advice would be that the three, of course, the oxygen, the water, and the food. But the thing that overrides any of the physical wellness is these bodies that are off our physical body that are invisible. And that's where the true healing lies, out here in the spirit of the body. It's fascinating to work with the spirit and the physical. That's where the true marriage of the whole person lives.
Yeah. Awesome. And what sort of areas, I guess, do you focus on, with your clients? What sort of areas of do you focus on?
Like what specialties? Well,
What areas?
Yeah, maybe what am I good at? Well, because I have a device that basically scans the whole body and gives me information. It's nothing subjective. And then you two and two together with a bit of intuition, but knowing what the person's saying and knowing the symptoms they're giving me, you can basically make progress with health in any area, in any ailment. You can improve any ailment. So the gut I have lots of success with.
The first thing I saw when we hopped on the call was the gut chart that's behind you, right? And I've heard so much like about lots of problems actually start within the gut that people don't even realize, whether it be depression or whether it be, I don't know, like this. I'm not the expert here, but from what I understand, there's lots of problems start within the gut and travel to other areas of our body.
Well, it's true. And, you can really tell on my device. I can tell who doesn't chew their food properly on my device because it shows up in the colon, and it shows up in the colon where bacteria will accumulate because the food hasn't been chopped up with the teeth and hasn't had enough amylase secreted in the mouth. So if the amylase isn't secreted, when you dump the bolus of food into your stomach bag, it doesn't stimulate the protease and the lipase and all the ases, the enzymes, if the amylase isn't present to break down the starch in the food. So, it's so critical, but we don't really chew our food. I remember my father saying, chew your food 52 times. Every mouthful was like, hours of chewing. But it was all the rage in those days, in our era. You have to chew your food. It was like a real thing. You had to chew your food. So now that all the, people are too busy, I'll just grab a smoothie. I'll just grab a fruit juice, and they get the drink and they're like, look, and they haven't even chewed it. They haven't chopped. So even if you're a fan of smoothies and juices, frankly, I take everyone off smoothies and juices. I think it's the worst thing ever invented. One of the Zuba Loops, I won't name what it is. I say take that straight to the tip. It's worth nothing for your gut. But if you do think, oh no, I'm hooked on smoothies, when you take a sip, chew it in your mouth at least 20 times and then swallow, and you won't get as much inflammation in the body. Because when you mash up people will say, I put in a banana, I put blueberries, I put walnuts, I put in mango, I put in celery, and I'm like my stomach's turning like, what is that recipe? Because the body's not designed, and then for it to be obliterate, all the fiber to be obliterated by this maxed out engine, and then you swallow it, the liver is like, what the hell is this food? It doesn't recognize it. So I think the gut starts here in the mouth at the chewing, and then and I must, I can talk about rushing food because we often eat on the hop as well. But if you're in a hurry, I would suggest you may as well not eat. Just have a herbal tea or a water. But if you are in company where you're arguing, definitely don't eat, because everything you eat won't be digested properly. So when you eat, the good old look at the food and thank you for the farmers who, plowed the fields, and thank you for that sort of minute of looking, thank you for the carrots, thank you for the, the sweet potatoes, and thank you for the kale. It's like in looking at your food, you actually begin your digestive juices. I don't know about you, but if you think of food and then you start salivating, that's brilliant. That's a sign of a very digestive system. I know whenever I think of sardines, I just yum, yum, yum. I can't wait to eat them. And I start, already getting ready to digest them. But if you can look at your foods and then start thinking that they're going to be delicious, that's really fantastic connection before you actually eat the food. And there's the old-fashioned thing was to don't talk while you're eating, like concentrate on your food. Well, that never really happens in our house, of course, but there's a lot of sense in that as well. So, even to eat by yourself is probably a good idea. If people excite you to be near them, it's maybe a good idea to have lunch by yourself.
Okay. And okay, yeah, cool, awesome. So yeah, just on that note, Nora, like what sort of methods do you use to treat your clients? Like if someone came into you and I said, look, this is my problem, I don't know, I've got a funny gut or, something going wrong, what sort of treatment methods do you use to help clients? Yeah.
So number one, I would do what they call hygiene, and that is the foods that you're eating are clearly causing you this pain. So eliminate those foods and introduce these foods. So I would definitely go through the food list and then I would look at what they're drinking at what time of day, and then I would alter what they're drinking. Like I'm not saying, I don't say to everyone don't have coffee if they're crazy coffee people. I'll, maybe say cut down and have half of what you're having just to get them there. And then when they start seeing the results, 9 times out of 10, they're like, I've cut it out, So you sort of have to, match the personality with how to do, firstly, the hygiene, which is the nutrition and the liquids and the exercise routine. So often I'll give them exercise prescriptions and get out in the sunlight. Humans and sunlight go together. So 30 minutes a day at least. So we get into that. So then when clearly their cells would be, seemingly destructive or deformed cells in their body, that's when you need to get into more of that plant medicine. So I would give them a herb mix for whether it's the digestive system or the respiratory system or the endocrine system. So I have lots of herbs on my shelf. Also, homeopathics are my absolute baby as well. I studied homeopathy.
Yeah.
And so I often give people homeopathic remedies, which is the like cures like. And also the Dr. Schussler tissue salts are fantastic, the 12 tissue salts. So they come in very handy for different ailments as well. The emotional remedies that I give are the vibrational bark flower essences. There's also Australian bushflower essences, which help the emotional body. So that's fascinating to see the Australian bushflowers, because the Aboriginals have been using them forever and ever, and it actually works on the astral body. So you've got the physical body, the etheric body. They work in the astral body and the celestial body, the fifth body of the physical body. And because they've been so sophisticated for so long in, channeling remedies, and they know that flowers put in water, distilled water in the sun for X amount of hours, and the drops from that can affect their emotions. So Ian White went all around Australia and collected 52 of these. I think he's collected more since his first kit, and they work like a dream for giving people a confidence, but actually like shedding the snake skins off them, so to speak, just to make them get a lot of clarity and emotionally feel like Humpty Dumpty back together again. So they are emotional remedies, and, just talking with people and resolving, knowing that they need to resolve something that's bugging them, just for them to talk it out and maybe suggest some strategies, that works really well as too. And
Yeah, awesome. And like earlier on, you said, like, I asked you, like, who should come see a naturopath, and you said to me, or you said to us that anyone that's open-minded. Yeah, so there's lots of people there that are, that have used this, and like if we look back thousands of years, right? Like we see in the world we live in today, you've got the people in the scooter and they're driving around the shopping centre and they can't get off the scooter from the foods they're eating and certain lifestyles they're living. But we've seen ancient sort of traditions that have been using these forms of treatments and whatnot for thousands of years. A lot of people will use this and some people won't, and they'll look at it and go, well, that's not what I've been told. It doesn't fit inside. They're closed off. I guess what would be some of the misconceptions that people would have about this sort of treatment, and what would be some of your suggestions to them to open up their mind from being closed off to opening it? Do you have any suggestions on that front?
Well, that's right. So, you know, often someone, it happened last week, they brought their mother and she clearly did not want to be here. Right? I was like, well, this is, you know, so I could not go full on the remedy I would have gone with say, a person like yourself who would be open. So I knew that, first of all, we'll just do step 1. I won't go to step 8 today like I normally would, and I certainly won't dramatically change her food.
Yeah.
So just enough to get rid of the pain in the stomach and her insomnia. So I was like, okay, I've got to manage this well. So now that was last week, and now she loves me. So she's going to come back, and then I'll, you know, go in for more serious, because she's actually got blocked. She's got atherosclerosis, so we really have to get stuck into that. So she's got more serious ailments that God's own herbs can clear. So sometimes they I'm not sure. You know, people have very different views of what a naturopath is, and I'm 100% fine by that, you know. So I meet everyone very, very differently. So by the time they come in the front door and I'm observing, and by the time they've come into the clinic, I sort of know, you know, how hard to go on them or how I've got to back off, because everyone's at different stages, and at the end of the day, they're all great. They're just amazing people who just want to improve their wellness and get some answers. So it's like horses for courses. You've got to go tread very lightly with some people, and other people you can just go, right, I'm going in really hard with you, you know, this, and then you can give them like 2 consultations in one, you know.
Yeah. No, it's cool because I like, just from my own side of things, like my mother, for example, I talk about different things to my mum, and mum's about 80, and she's like, no, you go to the doctor does this, the doctor does that. I'm like, but you're telling me how sick you are all the time, right? You got all these issues, like the doctor ain't working, let's go to alternative. And it's like the system's like programmed to go, no, the doctor, and it's like there's things that you could be doing to improve yourself. Like even if you still believe to go to the doctor, at least, you know, you can improve your health. Anything you can do to improve it, I believe. So that's why I thought I'd ask the question. So,
So.
Cool. And I guess in this world that we live in, like just one of the final things I want to chat about, I could sit here all day and just chat to you and ask you lots and lots of questions. But there's lots of people that are, like, you talk about going out in the sun, right, and getting natural light and natural oxygen. But we're living in a country where over half the population are being forced to live in their house. We've got people that have got fear and depression and different things that are happening on in their mind and their outer body. What sort of, say, the top 5 things that you could suggest at this point in time for people to get through and to, you know, improve their position? Like I remember doing a Facebook Live 12 months ago or 18 months ago when we first started having these lockdowns and stuff. And I said to everybody, if you're locked in your house for a week or a fortnight or a month, it was only meant to be 2 weeks to start off with, but here we are a couple of years later. But if you're going to be locked down in your house, you can either sit there and binge watch Netflix, or you can improve yourself, like be healthier, fitter, have a better mindset, whatever. If you come out of it not better, then there's serious problems with you. But, you know, what would be some things that you could advise everybody that's listening or watching this to help them sort of improve their position when they're coming out of lockdown?
So I think the first thing that we all need to acknowledge is how miraculous our bodies actually are. So if you give your body the chance to recover from anything, I've seen people really unwell, and 7 days later, it's just incredible if they really change around what they're thinking, eating, drinking, and doing. Their bodies can recover. If you give your body a break, it can recover from anything. So some people have ailments and they actually can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, I've seen people who I was really, really seriously worried about when they came to see me, thinking this person doesn't know how unwell they are. And then a month later, sticking to good food, bit of movement outside, mini walks, dropping some negative habits, introducing some positive habits, keeping in touch and connecting with, I connect with people on the text just to make sure that they're okay. It's absolutely amazing. And then once they see that they're out of the massive skin rash that they thought they'd have forever, they get addicted to it. So I think that, because you can go either way, like you said, like there's lots of jokes around about the COVID muffin top and the COVID kilos and the COVID wine o'clock and all of that. I never, ever entertain those jokes. I think they're so damaging. I don't even... they're funny, but they're not funny because they're too real for it to be funny. That Liquorland is open, but other places are closed that would give people a lot more joy and happiness. So, so the things that I think, number one is totally look inwardly and get to know who you are, get to know yourself, get to know how your body works. Eat well, like honor your body, feed your body with great nutrition. There's a great food pyramid called the Raw Foods Diet. I'm not saying only have raw food. You cook your vegetables all you want, but it's you'll get it on Google, Raw Foods Diet. And the bottom part of the pyramid is mainly water. So the most substance you'll have during the day would be water. The next one up in the pyramid is green leafy vegetables. That's where you get lots of your mineral fixes from and your alkalizing minerals. So, and then after that is the root vegetables, and then it goes up the pyramid. It's a fantastic pyramid for you maybe to print off and stick it on the fridge and go like, okay, that's going to be my aim my priorities. So, and that way, you'll have some guide to go by, but I think it's good since I've been doing these challenges, the 10-day challenges. The people who jump on the challenges, they just like belonging to a group that they get a buddy, they buddy up just to be accountable to someone else. Say, how are you going? No ice cream for 10 days, and it gets to be quite inspirational because everyone, when we're back on the Zoom, everyone motivates everyone, because we're born to belong. We're not born to live by ourselves. We're not born to be solo. So I think connect with people who you're on the same page with, whatever that page may be, and say to them, okay, let's do our own challenge. So we need to do some good eating, good drinking, good exercise, and good thinking. Have you got what about dancing? Like some people on the challenge just put music on and dance for 5 minutes a day. That's a great way to bring up the joy and happiness and bring the vibes. So it's more or less like, you can have a list of 100 things. It's got to suit the particular person. On one of the last challenges, someone said, I'm going to write down 5 things that I'm grateful for every morning, read them every morning and read them every night before I go to bed. So she did that for 10 days and she feels the difference in her body just from her, because she was spiraling down and feeling really doom and gloom. So, so I think connect with yourself, number one, appreciate and give gratitude for how miraculous our bodies are, definitely acknowledge who made you, what energy force made you. Just definitely have that and trust that your body is incredible at improving health. Connect with people who you gel with. And even though we're in the lockdown, you can still have so much fun. You know, you can still meet up with people outdoors and, you know, start, you know, making funny celebrations and things, because, you know, we've been locked down for 18 months now. So no one sort of planned, you know, in 2 years I'm going to get married. Everyone's sort of like, oh, what am I doing? I'm getting the heebie-jeebies. I'm going nowhere fast. Well, why don't we plan? We don't care what is on the horizon for Christmas. Let's say somehow at Christmas, 5 of us are going to meet up in such and such a place, and the theme's going to be bling bling or something. You know, it's like, you know, progress equals happiness. So when you're stagnating, you're not going to be happy. So it's like, you know, there's so many Zoom groups that you can get onto now. There's so many. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, I forgot it was on, you know, because there's so many opportunities now that you can connect with so many more groups of people on Zoom. So, you know, it's a great opportunity to get connected. I personally have never been more connected with like-minded people since COVID began.
Yeah.
My community's like, whoa, I didn't know there were so many people who are odd like me. It's just fantastic. So, you know, there's lots out there.
That's the thing, like, I think, you know, the opportunity, the optimism, like there's so many, like for me personally, I've never been so happy in my life, like as what I have been in the last 24 months. Like I just feel happy. I don't know why. I just think that there's so many things. There's like, yes, the world might be a messed up place out there, but your world internally doesn't have to be. And it's options that you choose, the choices that you make on a day-to-day basis, and how you behave and carry yourself through that. Because people look back and, you know, this is a time in our life. It might be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever that goes through. But that's just a little bit of time. How are you going to look back and explain to your children, to your grandchildren, you know, on your deathbed, how you behaved in this period of time and how you carried yourself and how your mindset was? And I think a lot of people are doomed from in here because they're not feeding themselves, whether it be the right in here or the right in here or the right that they're seeing. So
exactly. Yeah.
Nora, I could sit here and chat for hours, right, with you. I always get great pleasure from chatting with you and your family and your community, actually. Always great mindset, always great conversations. I guess a lot of people will be, you know, watching and listening to this and wanting to connect and, you know, wanting to know more about what you do. Like, how can you help people? You know, how does it work? How can people contact you?
Yeah, so, well, if anyone wants to get in contact with me, I do Zoom consultations as well as phone consultations, especially now because of the state. But I've been doing face-to-face consultations all the time because I'm classified as, you know, essential health therapist.
Yeah.
So I do face-to-face consultations too. So, and they're always great fun.
So how would people contact you? Do you have a website? How would they call you? Where would they see you?
Yes, I have a website, Nora Woolard, and my phone number.
Yeah, cool. If you want to share your phone number, like how would they normally contact you? Yeah. Yes,
certainly. Well, the phone number is probably the niftiest way to contact me over the text. It's 0417 998 009.
Awesome. Thanks, Nora. And what sort of, like, you mentioned the 10-day challenges that you've been doing. I want to do them now that you mentioned it. Like, like, so is there like some way that they connect on your website?
Yes, there is a place on the website, and the next one is on the 11th of October.
Okay, cool. And like, so whereabouts are you, like, you're in Victoria?
Yes, in Ivanhoe, Victoria. And I also work down in Balnarring in Victoria as well, down at Warrawee there. It's a holistic health therapy place down there in Balnarring.
Fantastic. Yep. I wish I was in Victoria. I'm in New South Wales. I transit in all different places, but I'm not in Victoria. So, when I can get the opportunity, I will actually come down and sit with you and get a checkup. And I feel like I want to just go there now and just like get a once-over and make sure I'm okay and what things I can improve. So I appreciate that, Nora. So on that note, is there any other comments that you want to make for today or anything you want to share with anyone, anything that
I
thought about?
Just the fact that, don't listen to your TV. Do not even turn it on. And just you'll have enough facts and figures from your friends around you or, a release on the phone enough to keep up with it because it's making a lot of ugly noise at the moment. But I firmly believe that utopia is waiting for us. After all this calms down, it's going to be better than ever before. So my motto is the best is yet to come. And I firmly believe that well, we don't know when it's going to happen, but take heart because the light at the end of the tunnel is a very big light.
Yeah, I'm really excited, really opportunistic for what's out there. So I must agree with that as well, Nora. So on that note, I've got to do the wrap up. I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in. If you do want to see Nora, go check her out. See how she can help you. And if you need any help from our side, beinvested.com.au, give us a buzz, 1300 367 925, send us an email at admin@beinvested.com.au. And as always, if you want to hear more about us, check out the No BS with Virgie podcast every Tuesday on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and you can watch us on YouTube. So thanks a lot for tuning in, subscribing. Write a little note down below if you liked what you heard today. And we'll catch up soon. Thanks a lot for being on today, Nora.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Loved it.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it. The dollar back to die, soon to be hyperinflated. This my 2 cents, don't care if you save it. Join be decentralized and you will see you've been lied to the whole time, and it's the irony, cause they do the exact opposite. You become a slave to the system, enough your money, all they do is profit. There's no conspiracy theory, you better hear me. Crypto will set you free before the system does. I don't care if you do or you don't, but what I'm saying is the truth to the reason you choke. I've never been a failure, excuse my behavior. Keep talking, haters doing me a favor. They all telling lies, I know what they been telling you. I'm the opposite of Donald Trump of Australia. It's amazing, here for the taking. My time is never wasted, just getting wasted.